There's something about Christmas that makes the whole world slow down, just for a moment. Maybe it's the lights, or the music, or the scent of pine and cinnamon drifting through the cold air. But beneath all of it, there's a quiet sense of wonder that feels almost ancient, as if we're remembering something we once knew, but somehow forgot. And maybe that's exactly what Christmas is, a moment of remembering. Because the Christmas story didn't begin in Bethlehem. It didn't start with a young couple searching for a place to stay, or with shepherds watching their flocks. It began long before that, long before mangers or stars or angels. It began in whispers, in promises, in clues scattered across centuries like pieces of a mystery waiting to be solved. And that's what I want to share with you today. Not just the story you've heard, but the one behind the story. The part hidden between the lines. The part that makes Christmas feel less like a holiday and more like the greatest rescue mission ever carried out. Imagine going back 3,000 years. No electricity, no cities glowing on the horizon, no Christmas lights strung across rooftops, just firelight, starlight, and the quiet writing of prophets who spoke of something the world had never seen. They described a child who would bring peace to nations, hope to the broken, freedom to people trapped in darkness. A child who would be both fragile and infinite. A child who would arrive in a way no one expected. And then, for centuries, silence. Generations lived and died holding on to a promise that seemed impossible. Imagine the weight of that waiting. A whole world longing for a glimpse of light, a sign, anything. This is where the mystery deepens. Because when the moment finally came, it didn't unfold in a palace or a temple or a throne room. It happened in the smallest place, at the smallest time, to the smallest people. No royal guards, no golden cradle, no spectacle. Just a tired young woman, a quiet man doing his best, and a newborn baby wrapped in cloth. If you or I were writing the story, we might have chosen something grander. But that's the thing. Christmas is the story that flips every expectation. The King of Kings enters the world unnoticed. The creator of galaxies borrows a manger. The one who shaped mountains and oceans sleeps in the arms of a teenage girl. And it's here, in this strange, upside-down moment, that the story becomes something far more beautiful than we expect. Because the first people to hear the news weren't wealthy or influential. They were shepherds, men who worked on the edges of society, men who no one invited anywhere, men who never imagined they would be part of anything important. And yet, they were the first to see the sky split open with light. They were the first to hear the announcement that the wait was over, that hope had arrived, that peace was finally on its way. And somewhere above them, moving silently across the night, was a star. Not a symbol, not a decoration, not the shape we hang on trees today, but a real cosmic sign drawing strangers from distant lands. These weren't Jews. They weren't followers of the God of Israel. They were scholars, searchers, outsiders, people who studied the sky. And yet even they sensed that something world-changing had just happened. Something worth following. Something worth crossing deserts for. What kind of moment pulls shepherds and scholars into the same story? What kind of birth makes kings nervous and angels sing? What kind of child can unite people who would otherwise never meet? The answer is the heart of Christmas. Light breaking into darkness. A whisper turning into a roar. A promise kept. And maybe that's why Christmas still feels mysterious today. Because somewhere deep in us, we recognize that the world is not as it should be. We feel the weight of our own waiting, the hope for peace, for healing, for things to finally make sense. And Christmas tells us that the waiting is not wasted, that God steps into the world not with force, but with presence, not with a sword, but with a cry. And here's the part that surprises people the most. The manger is not the end. It is the beginning. Because the child who slept in the hay would grow into the man who healed the broken, lifted the forgotten, challenged the powerful, and gave his life for the world that barely noticed his arrival. Christmas is not a standalone event. It's chapter 1 of a story that ends with a cross, a resurrection, and a promise that the light will never be overcome. So maybe the most amazing part of Christmas isn't just what happened, but who it happened for. Not for the perfect, not for the powerful, but for ordinary people, people who doubt, people who struggle, people who feel unseen, people like shepherds, people like us. And here's the final secret of Christmas, the part hidden in plain sight. The story didn't stop 2,000 years ago. The same light that broke into the world that night is still breaking into lives today. The same hope is still offered. The same peace is still possible. And the same God who came quietly into a manger still comes quietly into hearts that make room for him. That is the mystery. That is the miracle. And that is why Christmas, no matter how many lights we hang or songs we sing, will always feel like something ancient, something familiar, something true. Because it is the story of a God who came close, a God who keeps his promises, a God who loved us long before we ever knew his name. And that is the real wonder of Christmas.